So, Tim, why focus on hot sectors?
So first of all, thank you everybody
for
coming. I appreciate this. I haven't been in New York in a while. I literally just got off the plane from Australia, so I'm sorry if I'm a little out of it. I might be a little more polite than usual. It might be weird. I don't know. Just get confused like I am. You want to trade hot stocks. You want to trade volatile stocks. You have to remember, trading is very tough. And you want to make this as easy as possible. And I'm not saying that trading will ever be totally easy, but there are steps that you can take to make it easier. Focusing on very predictable patterns that happen again and again, not necessarily every day. Trading less. There's a reason why brokers don't necessarily like me, because brokers just want you to trade and trade and trade and churn your account. That's how they make money. For you, you have to focus, how do you actually make money and not make the brokers money? So you need to learn the best patterns, and focusing on volatile stocks is going to help you grow your account the fastest.
And that's one of the things I wrote down to really discuss. And Tim talks about this all the time, and it's an idea that I have. I was a part-time trader for many years, and I still consider myself a part-time trader as well as Tim does.
I actually consider myself a retired trader, because if you have that mindset where you are a retired trader, where you do not have to trade, even though obviously I'm a full-time trader, but I play these mind games because trading is so counterintuitive. So if you think of yourself as a retired trader, like you're sitting in front of the screen, you're watching, you're like one of these NFL players who steps away from the game to spend time with their family, but then you have to come back when there's a good play. And then you're like the NFL player who has nothing else to do in life, and they probably have a brain disease, so you need to go back because you have nothing else in life. So for me, I want to go back into a trade only when it's perfect. And that retired mindset makes me more patient than I normally would be.
And I think that is one of the things, again, the organizers and a lot of the sponsors here, a lot of this industry, they want you active all the time. They want you trading all the time. A lot of this is a commissions-based business, and they want you trading all the time, and that isn't really in your best interest. I mean, when you've got a shipping stock run, or an electric stock run, or a marijuana stock, or an Ebola stock, or electric cars, all these trends, marijuana stocks, Chinese, especially Chinese electric stocks. I mean, that is the time when you got to make the hay when the sun's shining. So.
You do need to be prepared, and that's what this is all about.
Yes.
Not that, I'm not retired. I just say that to get me to trade less. When there's a hot play, I drop everything. I actually missed my college graduation for a trade. I was down in New Orleans. My grandparents were sitting in the hot sun. They called my name twice. I was back home making a trade. I made about $12,000. So it was actually a good trade, but I regret that. You're going to have to make life choices. The good thing with trading is that you can choose every single day. You can say, hey, I have a fever today. I don't feel like trading. I'm hungover as shit. I don't want to trade today.
Or it could be to do something good. Perhaps you want to spend some time with your family or something like that. It doesn't have to be sickness or a hangover.
Just give me examples.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
There's just two examples. I'm just saying, the choice is yours, okay? This isn't a normal 9-to-5 job. That's the beauty of this industry. You don't have to wear a suit. I'm wearing sweatpants because I've eaten a lot and I got fat. This is the only thing I can fit into right now. I'm wearing sweatpants. It's fantastic. I'm wearing sweatpants to a professional conference. Think about that for a second. This is something where you can tailor your entire life if you are prepared, if you beat the industry stats, where frankly a lot of people are confused, they're trying to trade anything. Don't forget that you have to study your butt off. You're seeing me 20 years into my journey, and I've been studying pretty much every day. If I'm not trading, I'm still studying.
Yeah, and that's where it comes in. These trends, these sectors that come, the patterns repeat. The ideas repeat. We're looking for volume. We're looking for news, and that's where you've got to study. You've got to prepare so that you can catch the next one. And just like shipping stocks are back today. These are the same tickers that ran 2 years ago. They ran a year ago. They repeat when they get news, when they get volume. That's what you want to look for. If you're ready, if you're trying to trade every day, pressing buttons all the time, you're churning commissions, you're grinding down your account, and then when that opportunity does come, you're not ready.
And this is the beauty, part of the reason why it repeats is because, traders like you and traders all over the world, they remember. The longer you're in this game, you're going to start to remember specific sectors, specific stocks, and they run time and again, and they become kind of like your friends. This is a lonely business. It's a good life that you can earn your way through, but at the same time, you're basically sitting in a room with your laptop, with a computer, alone, and these stocks can become your friends. I know it sounds crazy, but the shipping stocks have made me money quite a bit. They've been very good friends to me, okay? They're very reliable friends. They're good friends. They pop up every few months, every few years. I'm like, how are you doing again? And they hand me a few $1,000s more times than not. That's a good friendship.
So on that note, we've got people from all over. We've got Forex, we've got options, we've got cryptos, all of these different niches. Explain to everyone here why low price stocks, why focus on these repeat runners. Why is that what works for you, and why is that something that you think they should be looking at?
Yeah, so, I never chose to be a penny stock trader. This is pretty much the most universally hated niche in all of finance. It's like, hey, I'll go in there. I just think that because of all the hate and because of all the narrow-mindedness where it's like, oh, they're all scams, that's all manipulated, you can't do that, that opens up opportunity. A lot of people, if you talk to them at this conference or any conference around the world, they purely stay away from penny stocks. No matter if you show patterns, no matter what rules, no matter what successes you show, they just are so anti-penny stocks. And I'm very thankful for that because all the smartest people, all the richest people that I know stay away from this niche. So I'm competing against morons, absolute idiots. And I make an analogy, it's like playing basketball against midgets. Like, nothing against midgets. I have several midget friends, but if they ever play me in basketball, I'm gonna block the shit out of them. They're not gonna score a basket. I'm not gonna have compassion for the midgets, like they already get enough attention. So for me, with penny stocks, it's playing against kind of like mental midgets. You're not competing against hedge funds or algorithmic traders or any big money. You're competing against average traders.
In penny stocks, you're dealing with the laziest people. You're dealing with the most unprepared people. All of these, your desperation.
They believe that every new penny stock is like the next Microsoft, which it never is. The beauty of what we've done and the strategy that we've refined over the past 20 years is that you don't believe in these companies. You're not saying this is like the best company. I'm just saying, look, this has the potential to run up. This has the potential to spike very quickly in 1, 2, 3 days. And with that potential comes the opportunity to make a few $100s or a few $1,000s on my small account. My strategy is ideal for small accounts. If you come to me and you say, I have $100 million, what can you do? I say, good luck, enjoy life, you don't need any more money. My strategy isn't for you. If you come to me and you say, I have $2,000 or $5,000, that's fantastic. My top student started with $1,500. He's up to over $8 million. So it's a very small account focused strategy.
Yeah, and what the greatest part about this, what I love is, these, as we mentioned earlier, these moves repeat, and there's so many of them that are multi-day moves. We talked about this morning, BPTH. I mean, this stock has been in play for literally 2 weeks. I mean, you can use scanners. Obviously, I represent StocksToTrade. I've got another presentation tomorrow where we'll talk about this type of stuff. So you can screen for these criteria. The low float stocks, one of the hottest sectors for years now. And the greatest part of it is you get these multi-day moves. So if you're a part-time trader, if you got to work that day, you can run scans at night. You see that volume, you see the past, you look at the past patterns, and then they'll quite frequently spike several days. I mean, I remember watching your DVDs from 12 years ago and the supernova pattern. I mean, these were week-long moves, and it still repeats today, all these years later.
And I think the good thing with that is that you don't have to be glued to the screen.
Yes.
Like I'm trading from literally everywhere. Is this one of your bullet points?
Yes, it is.
And it's kind of cool. Like I love traveling. Trading has given me the opportunity to travel everywhere and still make money from anywhere. Sometimes I lose money too. I don't want you to think I'm perfect. I win about 70% of the time. But because you don't have to be there for the exact moment when the news breaks, you actually shouldn't be. BPTH actually had a bigger spike on day 2 after the news was already out on day 1. So it's kind of crazy. The best patterns, you don't have to be there every single second. That gives you a little more freedom than a lot of these other niches where if you're trading a lot of these big names, these big companies and like currencies, you have to be there. Like news hits so quickly, and again, you're competing against hedge funds. There's a lot more money to be made. So I kind of prefer my little niche where, the best case scenario is you're going to make a few $1 million over several years. But the good news is that's all you really need in life. I know several billionaires, and they're really unhappy. It's kind of crazy. They're in prisons of their own wealth. People laugh. I gave a whole TED talk about how I never want to be a billionaire. If I ever make that much, I'm going to donate. And I thought I really captured the audience. And the first 20 questions afterwards were like, what do you see the stock market doing? Why do you think this? Like, no one got what I said. But it's true. Like, you don't need that much money. I enjoy being a multimillionaire. I live pretty well, but I also give millions to charity. And I think that's something that all of you guys should do if and when you're successful.
So let's talk a little bit about process. So that's one of the agenda items for tonight. So, you know, we talk about BPTH, we talk about these shippers, we talk about the weed stocks. How does someone go about locating that next hot sector, that next hot stock?
So every single day you should be focused on the biggest percent gainers. This is very simple, and simple works best. I've heard so many different strategies over the years with all kinds of advanced technicals and words I can't even pronounce, and I'm just like, I don't know any of that. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That seems to work the best for me. Simple breakouts, simple big percent gains with news, because the news can travel, like we were talking about, for several days with penny stocks. Because most of these companies are scams, or most of these companies will fail eventually, it's not like we're saying these are great long-term picks. But with news, with technical breakouts, they get on the radar of traders galore. And traders galore, a lot of people who are just individual traders sitting at home trying to make their money, trying to make $100 a day, $200 a day, they buy whatever's hot. So you have like this whole day trading horde, and you want to get them in a stock because then it's pretty predictable. And you can actually bet against the day trading horde when the volume starts to fade too. So there's money on the way up and money on the way down. You get to choose.
Yeah, so the process is, and it may sound inelegant or unfun, I guess, as if that's a word, but you know, back when I was a part-time trader, I was running these scans I still do it today, but back then, every night I would look, I would put, you know, I had my ear to the ground. What was moving? What's the why? Okay, I think that's something that so many, you know, newer intermediate, even advanced traders, like, why am I trading this? So write that down. Start tracking this, keeping track of these things. And we saw that with the Chinese electric cars. I mean, one started perking up, then all of a sudden we got stuff like Solo. You can look that ticker up. Went from like 1 to 5 in one day. They start warming up, and you can detect that by showing up and spending just a few hours a day to look at this stuff. And Tim does it to this day. No matter where he is, what time zone is, he's looking at those tickers every night.
And I think the best analogy is I have a YouTube video where I was feeding crocodiles in Bali, which was crazy. I think it has like 2,000 views. No one really cares. But if you Google Tim Sykes feeding crocodiles in Bali, you'll see where I'm feeding this duck to these crocodiles, which was an insane experience. And I'm like protected by this little tin wire, which isn't going to protect me at all. So I'm basically dead if the crocodile wants to like come at me. But I'm feeding this one crocodile, and there's like 10 other crocodiles hanging around the one. And the one eats the duck, and the other ones hear it, and they all start clamping for it. And it's very similar with these penny stocks. They're just alligators looking for dead ducks.
Yeah, so that's one of the big...
I have weird analogies, but it's true. If you watch this video, raise your hand if you've seen this video, if you're the one. My friend from Germany?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, one guy did? You saw it? Cool. Crocodiles in Bali. Fantastic.
So that's where, you know, tracking data comes in. You know, use your spreadsheets, use your notes, whatever you want to do. But you can detect these sectors simply by looking at the stocks, what their business is, looking at the news, and you will see consistently, once you get 1 or 2 runners in this niche, there will be 3 or 4, and they start multiplying.
And I also have to warn you, like when a penny stock starts rising or when they report positive news, it's very tempting to believe in them. You know, they issue the most pie-in-the-sky predictions. You must never believe a penny stock. You must never believe a penny stock CEO, even if they look you in their face, right? Like they're born liars. Almost every single penny stock will fail. There was one penny stock that succeeded, which is True Religion Jeans. They were a Vancouver pump, and somehow the jeans took off, and they became a real company. But other than that, and there's been like one gold company, one diamond company, I can name like 3 or maybe 4 penny stocks out of tens of thousands of penny stocks that I've seen over the years that have made it. So expect that every single penny stock will fail. Expect that every single person in the penny stock industry is lying to you, and you will never be disappointed.
Yeah, and that's a huge
It's
point.
a cynical way to look at things, but it's true. If you go down with the ship, I get so many messages from people being like, but this company had this, but this company... Trust me, don't do it, okay? If you read my book, An American Hedge Fund, Once Upon a Time, I believed in a company. They basically invented print-at-home ticketing. I was right about the technology,
Actually, yeah,
wrong about the stock.
Back up, slow down, give that story.
I can't, I'm drinking coffee.
No, that's fine. So talk about the worst trade of your career and why it was the worst trade.
So once upon a time, I lost $500,000 plus. of my own money, roughly $1 million of my hedge fund money. It was like roughly a 35% loss for my hedge fund at the time, which, it didn't blow me up. No one wanted their money back. But when you lose 35%, that kills your entire career, and, people think I lose all my money. What happened was I believed in a company. I believed in a penny stock. I believed in the management. I was actually right about the technology, but I was wrong about the company, and I lost a lot of money. I got away from my trading rules. Back then, I didn't know how important it was to have rules. So if you take one thing away from me, even if you don't trade any penny stock, cut losses quickly. This has become rule number one for me. Back then, I took like a long-term investment. I couldn't even, exit if I wanted to. I had restricted stock. Now I like to trade only actively traded stocks, like very liquid stocks, so that I can exit at a moment's notice. If there's something wrong with the market, if there's something wrong with the stock, I just exit. And if you look at my trades, I show every single trade.
Define liquid.
Usually a few million shares.
Because that's a lot of the times, in real stock land, people will say, "Oh, all these stocks are so illiquid." Well, I don't think we see some of these that trade 50, 60 million shares a day.
I don't want to be more than 1% of the volume. I think that's a good rule to live by, or even if you want to be aggressive, less than 5%. You want to be able to exit pretty quickly. So if a stock is trading 5 million shares a day and you have a 5,000 share position, it's pretty easy to exit. And that is key with these penny stocks, because you never know what's totally going to happen, right? Like, you can have the best setup, you can do all the research, you can be the hottest sector, and for whatever reason something goes wrong. You need to be able to exit. You cannot just sit there like a deer in headlights and do nothing, or worse, double up and triple up because your ego and your stubbornness wants you to make money. Okay, I'm willing to lose money on any single trade. It doesn't matter how much research I have. It doesn't matter my conviction. I don't want to let any small mistake turn into a big potential disaster. And this is a big problem. A lot of people dig in because they think like the stock is like owing them something, like it's like a personal battle.
I spilled mine too.
Cool. That's what cool people do. Yeah. Yeah. The bad boys of finance.
So finish your story on your what happened with that.
Sorry about that.
Big loss.
No, so I lost a lot of money. It sucked. I turned to drinking for several months. My whole, you can Google like a lot of bad articles about me, like party's over for hedge fund king. When I started teaching, Reuters wrote this great article that said, failed hedge fund manager tries again. And I was like, the fuck? Like, that's crazy. But at the same time, it was good for me. It knocked me down. When you get too cocky, the market will humble you. And that is a fantastic opportunity. Even though it stinks in the moment, I'm very grateful, because that forced me to look at all my risk management, all my rules. It forced me to become much more conservative. That, in time, made me a better trader and a better teacher.
So let's talk about some of these past sectors. What are the most that come to mind to you that have ran and continue to run?
Yeah, so Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, weed, and CBD. These are like the 4 sectors. A lot of people have pie in the sky predictions like Bitcoin's going to change the world. Well, why are only 4 out of 500 of the biggest companies using it? Like CBD, it's changing the world, and it's just not. A lot of this is hype. If you remember the acai berry from a few years ago, this was like the biggest internet affiliate marketing scheme. This berry is going to cure cancer. It's going to do everything. Sure, it tastes good. It's good at Jamba Juice, but it does fucking nothing. So for me, it's like I recognize these hype sectors. I recognize that they can explode. Like Bitcoin went a lot further than I thought and a lot of people thought. But you can ride it up. Just don't think that this time is different, because it really never is. Maybe Bitcoin in the future will go to $1 million, but not this run up. You have to try to take the meat of the move on the way up. And usually I sell too soon. There was an environmental shrimp company, SHMP, which recently went from like 2 cents to roughly $1 a share.
In like days.
In a few days.
800 or 8,000% in a few days. Yeah.
So I bought it at 7 cents. I sold it at 9 cents. I bought it at 24 cents. I sold it at 28 cents. I took my 10, 15% twice. I actually had a better trade on the dip when it crashed from 95 cents to 50 cents in one morning. Then I sold it at 60 cents and I made my 20%. So I like taking 10%, 20%. Even if I totally underestimate it, it's a safe, low stress kind of strategy.
So another thing that we see quite frequently is news-driven events. So the 2 that come to mind are, remember the body camera run? So if you remember when we had that civil unrest in Ferguson a couple years ago, there was all this news about these body cams that were being deployed in Ferguson, and we saw stocks move huge. We had an Ebola run There was one.
We thought everyone was going to die of Ebola. And
Yeah.
It turns out Aaron Hernandez killed more people than Ebola did.
Exactly. One person contracted Ebola in the U.S. I don't think they even died, but we had stocks go from 2 to 20 to 40. I mean, some of the biggest short squeezes, biggest moves ever, simply because of one person. So,
But it was one person, but maybe 10,000 news articles.
Yes,
so
yes.
the press can really
Very good point.
influence sectors.
Exactly, yes.
It's not just about reality, it's perception. With penny stocks, it's perception over reality. So for me, I don't care if the company is going to be totally bankrupt in a year. If there's 50 articles saying that it's good right now, I'm going to try to ride that hype. And then I'm also going to recognize that that hype might be very short term and you can actually short sell. So I've made millions of dollars going long, made millions going short. You get to choose. The cool thing about trading is I encourage you to try different strategies. You might leave here and think, penny stocks, what a waste. That was ridiculous. The only funny part was Tim, knocking over a chair. That's fine. I don't mind. I just want you to keep an open mind. I see too many people where they just turn themselves off from a strategy for no reason, just because of what other people say. I encourage you to look at the data. This is why I have 1,000+ free videos on my YouTube channel. This is why I show every trade that I've done for 20 years. I'm used to people not believing me, okay? When you say you turn a few thousand into a few million, it's on me to actually prove it. And I have so much data to prove it. If you don't see that, then that's on you. I can try as much as I can. The cool thing, Michael Good couldn't be here. He has a back waxing session. He does it every week. But my first online hater, Michael Good, it's a long process. It's like a 2-week process because he has a lot of fur. It's like a pale Wolverine. And so he couldn't be here because he's doing that, but he was my first online hater. He wrote a blog post that said, Timothy Sykes is full of BS. You can still Google it. And I went back and forth with him in the comments. Now he's made over $2 million. He still has a hair problem. You need to make more money than, if you have like a big problem like that, I think he spent like $3 million on hair treatments. But aside from that, I can't help him with his genetic deficiencies. All I can try to do is help him make enough money.
CRISPR. We've seen some CRISPR stocks moving. Maybe that will.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have all the solutions, okay? I can just teach you a strategy where hopefully you can make enough to at least pay for a lot of the treatment, if not all the treatment. A lot of people have a lot of treatments. It's very expensive.
So you and I both, we've been part-time traders, we've been full-time traders, staring at that screen 12 hours a day. If you to the attendees here, they're looking to make that money to grow their account. What is the best way? I mean, do you think the best way is to sit there and stare at that computer 12 hours a day, or how do I walk out of here and tomorrow?
No, I think you should watch Bandersnatch and try to pick the right, conclusions on Netflix.
I gave up.
I gave up too. It's so fucking boring. Oh my god. But no, if you look at every single stock and you look at every single sector, you're going to come away being like, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's just looking at, random stuff. For me, I want to focus on the most predictable patterns. So some days, literally, I don't look at anything. If there's no big percent gainers, there's nothing for me to trade. There's nothing for me to study. I go back and study the past. So I'd rather you guys study the past rather than always study the present. The past has so much potential for you, and a lot of people don't think it's applicable. People are like, why am I looking at a video lesson from 4 years ago? Well, because that pattern can happen again. I'm basically a glorified history teacher, right? So I'm teaching about historical empires like the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, the Egyptian Empire, and you learn from those past empires. And for me, it's stocks. Like, we don't realize that a lot of the biggest stocks in the past, like, AMF bowling alleys, that was one of the biggest, most successful stocks from several decades ago. Washing machines, Maytag, like, these were popular things, and the same kinds of patterns happen now, even though bowling alleys and washing machines are not, sexy sectors anymore.
So, again, that is, I think that's a great point. I mean, you're here at a trading conference. You want to learn. You want to master this craft. But I think a mistake that so many make is you end up turning it into a job, and you chain yourself to trading. And I think that's a huge mistake. I had a full-time business, traded part-time, went into trading full-time, and found out that it's a lonely business staring at this computer all. There's a better way to do this. And if you can, back to the topic of tonight, if you can learn, study, track, and be there during the hot times, that's the best way to be successful.
And that's the thing, like, also, it's not good to sit there all the time. Yeah, knock it over. Do it. Yeah, it feels good. Oh, man, you're aggressive. I didn't break anything. I just knocked it over. Oh! Let the mother. No, like if you're in this game long enough, there's going to be times where it's so busy. There's going to be so many hot stocks, such a hot sector. You're going to have to say no to your friends, your family. You're going to be like, I got to focus. So when there's nothing moving, that's when you go spend time with friends, family, go work out. You kind of have to figure out the balance, but it's not a normal balance because this is not a normal 9-to-5 job, especially with penny stocks. Maybe if you're trading other niches, other industries, you're looking for Amazon every day, there might be a trade every day trading Amazon options. This is not that. This, you have to wait for the right setups. And when there is no setup, either do nothing or study the past and learn what the right setup is. I find that most of my students, it doesn't matter how bad they want to be rich, they're not prepared when there is a hot stock. You know, a lot of these brokers, a lot of these scanners, they don't even cover the stocks that are moving the most. Like people are like using other scanners, they're like, I don't see this stock. That's not my problem. You know, I'm trying to tell you what patterns exist. You have to prepare yourself and be there. You know, there's brokers out there that don't trade the kinds of stocks that they don't allow it. So if you have the wrong broker and there's a perfect play and a perfect setup and you have no way to execute, you miss that opportunity. I hate seeing that.
Yeah, if any of you were in my presentation this afternoon, I mean, one of the things a lot of the presenters here do, and it's fine, they're showing you stuff from 6 months ago, a year ago. They've got slide decks that are 6 months old, a month old. In that, I mean, again, if you were there, you saw it. We spotted stocks on those scans that were on the watch list from this weekend live. I went in with no net, using the tools that Tim and I use, StocksToTrade, the other screeners. I mean, live, spotted stuff like TUM, GLBS, BPTH. I mean, I went in, I was prepared, but I just was like, hey, I'm going to show them how to use this stuff, and it was there. I'm not showing you slides from 6 months ago or a year ago. These things repeat, and you can find them.
I'll show you slides from 6 months or a year ago because I'm still interested in the past. For me,
I agree.
The past is endlessly interesting. You know, like it's crazy when several of my top students come to me and they're like, the patterns are the same. Like, yep. I thought I was crazy at first. Maybe I am. Maybe this is all, you know, Elon Musk's simulation, right? Like, thank you for simulating this awesome life. In my past life, I was probably like a slave or something who got raped every day because now this life, I am golden.
So go back to that studying. Okay, you know, you talk about studying, you talk about these repeating charts. How do I do that? I mean, how do I start looking for these so that I can see the next one?
Yeah, I mean, I have endless video lessons just showcasing everything that I've learned over 20 years. I've basically been obsessed with just documenting everything because, again, most people think that I'm full of BS. Most people think that penny stocks, you should stay away. So I'm just documenting every single run-up, and it's crazy if you look at enough of my video lessons. I have 6,000 video lessons. Have fun. They're only in 5-minute increments. It's about 450 hours worth of study. But you start seeing the same kind of stuff. This is not rocket science. The beautiful thing with penny stocks, like I said, there's no big money able to be made. Like, you're not going to make $10 million in a day or $100 million in a day. So all the smartest people are not involved. So the average person, and I don't say this to put people down, I just say that the average person, it's all based on psychology. So if he sees or she sees like a CNN article, along with a MarketWatch article, along with a Bloomberg article about some hot sector or hot stock, like, they're most likely going to buy. And when enough people buy a stock altogether and you get the day trading horde involved, it creates the same pattern. It is beautiful. It's not exact science. Again, I lose, you know, a third of the time. So sometimes you might have the perfect setup and it just doesn't work for whatever reason. But more times than not, these patterns repeat. And it's your job to study the past so that you can be prepared.
Yeah, and that's, you know, something I talk about is, and I learned this from Tim over the years, is, you know, is building that case. I mean, put all of your research together and see how these things repeat. And whether you trade them or not, I go back to when I got started. I used to print the charts and write notes all over them. I mean, they're all chicken scratch notes, but I would be like, this looks like this looks like that, and you can see after a week, after a month, same thing happens, same tickers, and that's how you're ready. So again, you know, if you see stuff like GLBS or DRYs or SINO or any of these tops moving on volume, you know there's a good chance it's going to spike again.
And I would encourage you guys to understand that it's not fun to get rich. It's not a fun process. What you're getting involved in is not going to be fun. What this pays for is fun. You know, you're basically putting in time to buy your freedom. I have an article on my blog, TimothySykes.com. I have 8,000 blog posts if you want to read a lot. But one of the blog posts is about Ray Allen, who's arguably the greatest three-point shooter of all time in the NBA. He's won 2 different NBA championships with 2 different teams. And he wrote this great article about boring old habits. And for him, it was just practicing shooting threes over and over and over again. And, you know, he made thousands of threes during the game, but he shot hundreds of thousands of threes during his practice time. Like, he's practicing. The article is actually fantastic. After he won one of the NBA championships, he went to the dentist the next day, and the dentist is like, what are you doing? You just won the NBA championship. Like, why are you here? And he's like, well, my tooth hurts. I got to, you know, go to the dentist. It's just another day. So no matter how successful you are on any one trade or over time, you have to understand that this is a process. It might not be a normal 9-to-5 job, but it is a job, and you have to learn the rules. When I made my first $100,000, I was a freshman in college. I took my entire dorm out to dinner. That was a fantastic night. The next day, I went right back to trading. We were underage. No one even had any drinks. It was only like $800. I encourage you to make money early on. It's fantastic. The younger you get started, seriously, the better, because the more prepared you are. Like, the market will always be there. Penny stocks will always be there. There's always going to be some scams. There's always going to be some upcoming technology. The question is, are you going to be there prepared for it? So I love that a lot of you guys are young and you're getting started, because even if you don't learn it in year 1 or year 2, by year 3, year 4, year 5, I mean, you have to be an absolute moron not to get it after like half a decade. If you were the dumbest person in the world, if you were like, you know, the movie like I Am Sam or like Forrest Gump, like something like where you have some problem.
Forrest Gump was a great trader, man.
Forrest Gump invested in Apple.
Yeah.
It's a little too late for Apple right now, but you know, that's the kind of thing here where you're studying the past, where you can learn the catalysts, you can learn the patterns, and that's it. And then it's rinse and repeat. And then you choose what life you want. You know, you can live in one place, you can travel the world, you have that freedom, and this can basically buy your freedom.
Yeah, and you know, and again, one of the great things, I'm here obviously representing StocksToTrade, which is a tool that Tim has helped found. I mean, we have all of those tools built in to scan for these stocks. It is custom built for this niche. It's got everything you need to spot these, chart these, find the news the fastest. It's one of the best.
And this is why I teach. A lot of people say, well, if you're so good, why do you teach? Because again, I love this. I love meeting you guys. I love going all over the world, and I have students all over the world. Now I have charities all over the world. For me, this is an adventure. And trading these stocks has gotten me here. And StocksToTrade is actually programmed by my student, Jamil. He saw what I was doing, and he was like, Tim, I love these lessons, but you're totally disorganized. I'm an engineer. Let me clean it up. And so StocksToTrade is basically a cleaned up version of what I teach. And it's fantastic. I could never have done that. People ask me technical questions. I don't know if it's Java or HTML. I don't know any of that shit. Like, for me, it's these patterns. That's what I've been focused on for 20 plus years. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. And then everything else is just gravy.
So on that note, if you are, I will be presenting on StocksToTrade tomorrow morning in the trading pit at 9:15 a.m. And actually, Tim and I are going to be representing StocksToTrade at the NASDAQ closing bell. So that'll be pretty cool tomorrow.
We're going to try to knock over some stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, NASDAQ, let's go. I'm just kidding, NASDAQ. I would only do that at the New York Stock Exchange. Do we have time for any questions?
Yeah, sure.
You want any questions? German guy. This guy came all the way from Germany. Stand up. Give him a round of applause. I love this dedication. No, you can just ask your question. What's up?
I would really like to step into your footsteps, because everything what you do, everything what you say, it's correlating with what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
The philosophy you have, I totally agree, and I'm so flashed to be here in New York. I only came to see you.
Oh, thank you.
We flight spontaneously on Thursday.
It's beautiful.
And I'm not
Give him a round of applause. Seriously.
Well, here, let me get a picture.
Yo, it's good to meet you. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wait, let's do a picture. Let's do a picture. Come on up here. We're doing pictures too. I love it. Seriously.
All right.
Can you send me a pair?
We'll send it to you.
Well, here, let me,
Don't worry,
here,
we're
go
not
ahead,
going
do
anywhere.
another one.
We're not going anywhere. This is what's so fun for me here, because this isn't just a normal thing. You know, I'm trying to help you with everything I learned the hard way. I didn't have a teacher. You know, I taught myself on the internet over several years. Like I said, I had a $500,000 loss. That was, what, 7-8 years into this, because I didn't have risk management rules. Woo, what is this?
This is free stuff. Wait, no, God. No! You're supposed to, wait. If they ask a question.
You see, I have to control my impulses. I can't help it. I'm a penny stock trader. What do you expect? Oh, these will hurt.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not going to throw notebooks.
Any other questions? Questions?
Regular notebooks or?
Right here. Oh, yep. Okay.
What's up?
Broker.
So I use E-Trade and Interactive Brokers. I've tried every broker. I don't think that they're great. They don't pay me anything because I teach patience. But for me, I just want a solid broker that can give me, reliable executions. E-Trade and Interactive Brokers. Almost every single top trader that I know uses Interactive Brokers. I have 5 millionaire students. They all use Interactive Brokers.
And then,
yeah.
So follow StocksToTrade on Instagram and I'll post it.
Emotional to be here.
Good to see you.
I made that sound great to hear. I'm so happy to be here.
Why not? Yeah, so the question, good question. So the question is why not just short every penny stock? You have to be careful.
Tim Sykes is really the reason for why.
Yeah, you have to be careful. Like just because these companies are going to fail. Whoa, calm down here. I'm giving a speech. Talk later.
Okay.
No worries. Good to see you. No, so a lot of these penny stocks can go up further than you think. Like BPTH literally went from the single digits to over $70. So it was a good short because now it's back down to 20.
Yep.
But we've seen DRYS go from $5 to 120. So I'm very, very cautious with shorting these days. There's a lot of people with your mindset.
Oh,
so there's a lot of
short a low float stock?
Yeah, so there's a lot.
No.
Well, why not just short everything if they're going to fail eventually? No, you have to be careful. For me, I like to ride the hype. No, but you might not be able to withstand the huge run-up.
The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solid.
Correct, and there's just massive risks. Like, ask the people who were betting against Bitcoin and it went to 20,000, they thought it was overvalued at 1,000. I would be very careful trying to pick the top on hype. Hype can really go further than you think, especially in this day and age where we're all connected. Social media spreads everything faster than ever before, so you have more volatility.
That's one of the biggest reasons I think that you see these stocks squeeze so much longer is now, not only do you have, back in the day you had these small chat rooms, now it's social media explodes. And remember, one of the big things that people forget with shorting these low price stocks is your broker will, these shares get called in. So you can be right. One of the biggest fallacies is people will look at these charts that go straight up and go straight down, but if your broker takes you out because these shares get called in and you're out, so you just watch it come back.
Remember, when you're shorting, you're taking out a loan from your broker. So the broker can call it back at any time. And a lot of these brokers, if everyone's short one of these penny stocks where it goes from 5 to 50, they call in their shorts. It doesn't matter if the next day the stock goes to 2. So you can't necessarily always ride it all the way up and make money on the way down. The good news is with this kind of scary volatility, you can ride it up. And I have a lot of students these days who are like, this is crazy. Like you're buying a stock at 3 and you're selling it the next day at 20. Like it's kind of insane. So for me, I've gone switched primarily to a long bias trader just because of the recent volatility. I got a question here.
When you see a lot of buzz in a penny stock and people are getting in and you get in after that, aren't you a little late?
So the question is, when other people are buying a penny stock and you get in after that, aren't you a little late? So no, that's a good question. So I'm always scared of chasing because again, we know most of these penny stocks, if not all of them, will fail eventually. You don't want to be the last one holding the bag. So oftentimes, like on SHMP, which went from 2 cents to $1, I'm buying it at 7 cents, I'm buying it at 24 cents, then I'm out. And then I wait for it to come down. So I always think about where is the technical breakout, where is kind of like insanity levels. I don't want to be in insanity levels, even if I miss out on money because I'm not comfortable. When these penny stocks do go up so much, something is bound to happen. Either they do a financing at discount prices, so it's a toxic financing, and the stock crashes. Sometimes the SEC halts it. Sometimes a tweet goes viral where they expose that the company has like no cash. When these stocks are not meant to be up so much, they come down in a hurry, and most people are not prepared to get out that quickly.
But that's why you have to have that philosophy. You have to have a trade plan. You stick to it. Okay. If you buy this stock simply because it's moving on shrimp farm news, like
environmental shrimp, it's actually a fantastic idea. But I'm sure they're doing some shady shit in the background. The good news is 80% of the world's, I learned about this. I'm doing research about shrimp. I eat shrimp all the time. I didn't know about it. 80% of the world's shrimp is developed in third world countries. There's no regulations. So you're eating like these bottom feeders that are eating like pollution, probably all getting cancer as we eat this. So environmentally safe shrimp is actually a good thing. But at the same time, no matter how good the story is, I guarantee you that this company will do something to screw it up.
Yeah. So that's why you have to exit when the trend shifts.
And
you can buy the junkiest of the
not even
stock.
exit when the trend shifts, exit when you have a profit. For me, I'm Jewish. I like money. Like, I want to take my profits. I know some traders, they're very disciplined. They turn off their profit and loss column. They want to like give these stocks as much time. If I make 500, I made 2,000 today while sitting, at the Expo booth. I made 2,000. $2,000 a day keeps a real job away. So I'm always focused on what am I personally making, and that's good enough for me, even if I can make more later on.
And that stock you traded today, low price stock, but CBD stock, it was moving Friday, all predictable.
Former runner.
Former runner, in a hot sector, from the kiosk, from his single screen laptop, he made a couple grand in what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, and another good thing to remember is that because I'm a glorified history teacher, because these stocks repeat, it's easier to buy stocks that are former runners. So anytime you look to buy a penny stock, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, look at the 1 year, 2 year, 5 year chart, see how it's done in the past, because if you have some stocks that have never run in the past, it's very hard for them to run just out of the blue, versus a stock that's run several times. Like I said, there's a day trading horde with penny stocks. If you can see that day trading horde is interested in the stock because they remember it from a few years ago, you have a greater likelihood of it spiking again. And shorts are also scared. Like when you see some of these stocks that go from 2 to 50 and then it comes back down to 2, the next time it spikes up again, some shorts might not be so aggressive in shorting because they'll be like, oh, last time it went from 2 to 50, I remember that, I want to stay away. So it's kind of training the shorts to be scared, training the day trading horde to be, gambling degenerates, which they are.
Right here.
Social media and the internet are inundated with people who call themselves experts on penny stocks. What would you suggest is the best way to discern who knows what they're talking about and who's full of shit?
Great question. So who is transparent and who is full of shit? This is why I show every trade. I show my income tax returns, I show my audits. It's not just how much money you make in the market, it's the actual trades. So if someone posts a screenshot, oh, I made $50,000 or $100,000, how much do you risk? If you're risking $700,000 or if you're down $100,000 at one point, it's irrelevant for people with small accounts. So for me, I like to show every single entry, every single exit, how much I risked. When I do lose, I try to cut my losses very quickly. So you see that even when I'm in the negative category, I'm not risking that much. I'm risking a few $1,000s. There's a lot of newbies because of this 10-year bull market who think they know everything. And it's not that they're bad people, they just don't know what they don't know. And I was once this person when, again, 7, 8 years into my trading journey, I never had a big loss. I was running my little hedge fund. I thought I was like the big shit, right? And at the time, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I set myself up for a big loss. So for me, experience and transparency are key. If you're learning from anybody, ask to see every trade over several years, ideally over several decades, because I'm not like a master trader, but I have learned to be very conservative. And too many people are like, Tim, you're doing it the wrong way, you're too conservative. And those people a few days later, a few weeks later, a few months later, usually blow up, then they get very introspective on Twitter, what they did wrong, and they're just newbies, they don't know. So be very careful these days.
And the one thing I would tell you is just know that anybody on social, they have an agenda. Why are they talking about this stock? Why are they bashing this stock? There is an underlying agenda. And really, especially you should be running your own scans, doing your own research, and shut that shit off.
And this is another thing, like I trade with a small account, not because it's fun, like it's boring as hell to trade with a small account. I should be trading with like a $10 million account. But for me, I don't want you to think like I'm trying to make a lot of money from trading and use my subscribers. I trade with a small account. I donate any money that I make to charity because I want you to understand that I'm trying to teach you the process. For me, it's all about giving you guys the process. How do you grow a small account into something? So it's not just about money for me. I get my kicks these days when students come up to me and they make like their first 1,000 and their first 2,000 and they learn the process. That's what motivates me. So look at people's, reasoning. Why are they teaching? I only got started teaching because my TV show Wall Street Warriors was a hit, and I started getting a lot of emails. My hedge fund lawyers were like, ignore the emails, just continue running the hedge fund. And I was like, I can't. Let me try and teach this stuff. This stuff is real. And that was, a little over 10 years ago, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, question right here in the front.
Yeah,
Look to your right. We got questions over here.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm blind in this eye.
you guys are both teaching at this point. How do you pick between the Tims?
And this is another thing. If I had chosen better, none of my top students would all be named Tim. We got Tim Bohen, Tim Lento, Tim Grattani. The chat room's a fucking mess where everyone's like, Tim, I have a question. And it's a disaster. I don't know why there's so many Tims. Raise your hand if you're named Tim. Do we have any Tims? You have higher odds than other people for whatever reason in this Elon Musk simulation, especially if you're from the Midwest. Are you from the Midwest? No, you live in New York. Fuck. Well, I mean, for whatever reason, most of my millionaire students are from the Midwest. I think because there's nothing to do there, so they're just bored and cold.
Especially in the winter, yeah.
Like this guy, he's from the Midwest.
I do 2 webinars a day, every single day. So
he's got nothing else to do. He's got no movie premieres. He's got no new restaurants. He's got no museums. He's got the cold and deer. That's it. And then he kills the deer because he's a murderer.
Yeah. So Stocks to Trade Pro is a mentorship program. You can check it out, StocksToTrade.com/pro. I do twice daily webinars. It's just kind of a different thing. Tim does, more of like an alert type service. He's got his archived webinars. I do twice daily webinars. It's just kind of your choice. Really.
Question over here in the corner.
How hard do you think you have to work?
How hard do you have to work? Harder than you think in the beginning. It's endlessly frustrating in the beginning.
It's like I'll let you finish, but think of it like that hockey stick of growth. I mean, you've got to grind through that hockey stick, and then you get to the upper.
I posted a chart the other day on my Instagram feed where you have these great expectations in the beginning of how easy it's going to be, and it's just going to be easy the whole time. In reality, it's very hard in the beginning, but the longer you stick with it, the easier it gets. So the whole key for me, and part of the reason why, raise your hand if you follow me on social media. Most people. So my social media exists to motivate you to stick with it, because this is the kind of life that you can have after 20 years. But too many people give up after 3 months, 6 months. You have to remember, Tim Grattani, who's made over $8 million, he made nothing for 9 months, his first 9 months, and he studied every day. He was working at State Farm, right? Like he was an insurance agent, but he studied at night, he studied on weekends, and he made nothing. So expect to make nothing in the beginning and try to just learn and be prepared, best prepared 12 months, 24, 36 months.
One more question over here. Yep, one more. Yep.
So I'm an option trader.
I like the aggression.
Yeah.
You are an options trader.
I work full time, and so penny stocks, I don't do hotkeys or anything along those lines, and
you don't need
automatic program 1/3 this, 1/3 that. So if I wanted to start trading in that world, how would I get started in regards to just learning the price patterns and everything like that?
Join the challenge.
Just transitioning from an option trader to a penny stock
It's,
trader.
from what I understand, I don't trade options, but I know a lot of students. I wish there were penny stock options. That would be cool, but
some of them do, but most don't. Yeah.
For me, again, you just start studying the patterns. Start looking at my YouTube videos. There's 1,000+ of them. If you want a comprehensive guide that's organized, go to howtomakemillions.com. That all goes to charity. It's 35 hours long. So that's everything that I learned all in one kind of thing. And people seem to like that. Raise your hand if you've seen my How to Make Millions guide. Yeah, a few people. Cool. Well, you help build schools. My charity has now built 52 schools. My goal is still to build 1,000 schools. Thank you. So you learn what you want over time. Like for me, I used to want to travel everywhere. Now I've been to 119 countries. I'm running out of countries to visit. So now I'm trying new stuff. Always be, setting goals for yourself, but then set new goals, and you'll learn about yourself along the way. The best thing about trading is not just about the money, it's the adventure. When you have this kind of freedom, even if you don't make a lot of money at first, at least you have that freedom. And you need to study to get that freedom. Then you can find really what you're most passionate about in life. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, it's tough to do anything.
So we're going to kind of wrap up here. Got an announcement again. Remember, Tim and I will be representing Stocks to Trade at the NASDAQ closing bell. And Tim, this is back to your simulation theory. We're giving away we got 4 winners. We've got your email. We will email you. So I'll just call out your names. I'll let Tim do the last one. So Stephen Hild, you're a winner.
Stephen Hild!
Tri-Fan, Arthur Barron, Darwin Padilla, and then Tim, you can read the last one.
Another Timothy Cavalier. Is this Timothy Chalamet? I love your work, man.
But anyway, so those 4 people, you won some gifts from Stocks to Trade. We will shoot you an email. I am again going to be in the trading pit representing Stocks to Trade in the morning. Any closing statements, Tim?
I'm just excited to teach you guys, and I thank you
Again,
for the opportunity.
love the room. Thank you guys
I'm
for
excited
coming
to try to teach you what I've learned over the years. We're going to be doing some Q&A in the corner here, so thank you again, guys.